I can't tell you how many people I heard on television yesterday who said, yesterday being Monday, that the President of the United States sent out that tough-talking tweet regarding Iran because he was trying to essentially wag the dog, change the subject, because there was so much bad publicity last week after the fallout from the Helsinki summit with Mr. Putin.
Well, I think a lot of people, what I'm hearing is look at the big picture. And if you look at Middle America and you look at the areas that are President Trump's base, they support what he's doing. Yes, there was criticism after Helsinki because he misspoke. But if you look at the big picture, to sit down with some of these leaders, and these leaders that have control of nuclear weapons that we don't necessarily need on our bad side, we don't need them to be enemies, just to sit down is a step in the right direction.
Let's bring in Ben Shapiro right now to have him weigh in on this. He's the editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire and the host of the aptly named Ben Shapiro Show. Ben, what did you make of all that mainstream media madness yesterday?
Well, I think that the media are constantly turning the dial all the way up to 11 on the Spinal Tap scale. And that means that it's very difficult for us to actually determine when something terribly has gone wrong, because apparently everything is going wrong all the time. And it's that scene from Animal House where Kevin Bacon is standing in the foreground telling everybody not to worry as everything's on fire. Except the truth is that nothing is really on fire, although the media would have you believe that everything is.
But when you look at the president's rhetoric, he has talked tough regarding North Korea a year ago, but that ultimately, Ben, resulted in a sit-down with the leader of North Korea 6 weeks ago. Now he's talking tough with the leader of Iran, and it's not quite to the fire and fury level of rhetoric, but nonetheless, given the fact that their economy has imploded, the rial has dropped by 50% over the last couple of months, Iran, for them, it's time to do something.
Well, the president did unleash caps lock, which I believe in Twitter speak is actually DEFCON 2. So that means that we all should be on our toes here. But again, I think the president is not one to abide by the Teddy Roosevelt school of diplomacy that speaks softly and carry a big stick. It's tweet loudly and then do something. And it depends what the something is, right? Sometimes the something is militant. Sometimes it's him flinging a missile into Syria when Assad is gassing children. And sometimes it's sitting down with the person he was ripping on 5 seconds ago. So the president has always said that he is very into strategic unpredictability. And he's been true to his word on that.
You're right about that.
So the New York governor yesterday, Andrew Cuomo, had a press conference, and he announced that he's going to pardon 7 more people who are facing deportation in December.
Aliens.
That's right. December, he pardoned 18 individuals. This is the 3rd group that he's pardoned. And he said this. Listen.
This administration is on a crusade against people who they do not consider original Americans. What they've done at the border is an example of it, what they've done in Puerto Rico. And they are on a jihad to deport as many people as they can who they believe are not in the United States legally.
Ben, what do you think about that, accusing the Trump administration of waging jihad against illegals?
First of all, why isn't anyone accusing Andrew Cuomo of Islamophobia? I thought that jihad only meant internal struggle, so there's that. Also, when he says that President Trump is waging war against illegal immigrants, I'm old enough to remember when the Obama administration was bragging that they had increased the number of deportations. Now, they were lying about that because what they actually were doing was just turning more people away at the border. But the fact is that strictness when it comes to our border enforcement is actually a pretty popular policy among most Americans. And if President Trump is attempting to deport all of the illegal immigrants who are in the country right now, if he's actually waging a war against them, he's doing a pretty poor job of it, considering that 11 million illegal immigrants are still living in the country.
Good point.
Andrew Cuomo rules the halls of Albany. Speaking of Albany, State University of New York at Albany. This is going to be right up your sleeve because obviously you're a big speaker on college campuses. Last year, 64 speakers identified as liberal, only 2 conservative. Again, the entire academic year. So 2 out of a total of 66. What say you?
Well, it's an echo chamber, and all of these universities have basically become echo chambers where, because everybody lives in this ivory tower where all they do is talk with people who agree with them, they start to believe their own opinions are fact. So what they will tell you is the reason there are no conservatives on campus is because conservatives just don't speak the truth. Well, once you start believing that your opinion is the truth, it makes it very difficult to hear any other opinion.
Well, clearly they're not inviting conservatives, Ben, because you're so scary.
You are scary, Ben.
No, I'm so bewildered by all of this. I've been told by everyone that I'm so scary, and My wife doesn't think I'm that scary, so that's a new one.
But where does this come from? Is it the times that these professors grew up, that now that they're in charge and they're talking to students about this, that they have convinced everybody guys like you are scarier? Where does that narrative come from? We should not have conservatives speaking on campus. Or is it just that they take a poll and they said, well, we voted and, you know, nobody wanted to hear you?
I do think that it's an ideological blind spot. I think that a lot of people on campus believe that their opinion is the truth. And so when it comes to things, for example, like tax policy, they think that Keynesianism has been proved, and therefore anybody who disagrees with that is actually speaking untruth to the students, that their bubble of truth has been violated by the outside world, and that has to stop, according to them.
Okay, I know that there's a heat wave in the Southwest. I saw that the headline today on Drudge is that California Power is asking Californians during the heat wave, please turn off your lights and electricity. Are you living by that?
No, because I would die. It's 120 degrees out here. Nobody's living by that. That's why there's going to be rolling brownouts, just like there are every single year, because we will not build any new upgrades to the power grid or build any new nuclear factories that will actually create the power necessary for people in Southern California to live decently. Jeez.
Well, then it's a good idea that you show up on TV at, let's see, 5:50 in the morning before the sun comes out. All right. Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks,
Great
Ben.
to see you.